52, the F-bomb, also cursing, obscenity, profanity. An adolescent fallacy of pathos attempting to defend or strengthen one's argument with gratuitous, unrelated, sexual, obscene, vulgar, crude, or profane language when such language does nothing to make an argument stronger other than perhaps to create a sense of identity with certain young male urban audiences. This fallacy also includes adding gratuitous sex scenes or adult language to an otherwise unrelated novel or movie, sometimes simply to avoid the dreaded G rating. Related to this fallacy is the salacious fallacy, falsely attracting attention to and thus potential agreement with one's argument by inappropriately sexualizing it, particularly connecting it to some form of sex that is perceived as deviant, perverted, or prohibited. Example, arguing against Bill Clinton's presidential legacy by continuing to wave Monica's blue dress, or against Donald Trump's presidency by obsessively highlighting his past boasting about genital groping. Historically, this dangerous fallacy was deeply implicated with the crime of lynching, in which false racist accusations against a Black or minority victim were almost always salacious in nature, and the sensation involved was successfully used to whip up public emotion to a murderous pitch. See also red herring. So it seems like what they're saying here is um, the F-bomb is the idea of utilizing more swear words to yeah, it's the usage of swears to to make someone's point more valid. So it's like, if I say this is degrading or this is effing degrading, it like changes, like it's like, oh, it's now even more degrading because I used a swear word. So that's fascinating. I've definitely used that before. The salacious one though, I'm not picking up fully what this one is uh saying. I'm I'm guessing it's utilizing I feel like this one, if I'm picking it up correctly, it sounds like what it's saying is utilizing uh highlighting sexual, like the sexual nature of something and choosing to do so such that it invalidates or disparages someone or someone's point. And if that is the case, I find that I feel like that would only really work in the US, because it's like there are example, like, uh, were what was the picture that I saw? It was an ad for it was an ad for someone's product. It was either a clothing brand or it was a fashion brand of some kind, or a lifestyle brand. And the ad, oh no, it was an album. It was an album. It was Jimi Hendrix album. And in the US, the album cover was banned. It was a bunch of women topless. And it was released everywhere else in the world, but in the US it was banned. And so I feel like the salacious fallacy, which I'm interpreting as the usage of the highlighting of inappropriate sexual behavior to try to invalidate something. I feel like in other countries that just wouldn't work. That rather not other countries, like the US is the only one who has like suppression on sexuality. But I feel like in the US, outside of the US in particular, like it would be significantly less of a thing. Just because in the US there's such heavy cultural significance placed on anti-sexuality, sexuality not being real, sexuality being bad, sexuality being not even a part of human experience. If you're being sexual and you're wrong and evil, it's like it's so normal here. Um, yeah, I feel like that fallacy doesn't really have as much weight outside of the United States. I'm curious your thoughts on that one and on this as a whole.
Yeah, so for the F-bomb one, going into it, I thought that it was going to be the opposite, where someone using cursing diminishes their argument, but it is actually saying that it's I mean both are true. That like using curse words does not strengthen or weaken your argument, but this one is particularly talking about um, strengthening it. And the first one that comes to my mind is Will Smith at the Oscars assaulting Chris Rock and then asserting that he's correct by saying, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. And just because, like, what? Like, Chris Rock as a comedian can't be a comedian, but it's more passionate if uh, Will Smith has to swear at him. And then the salacious fallacy. Yeah, essentially, I mean, it's kind of ad hominem. Um, I mean, yeah, I would argue that all ad hominem is red herring, and salacious fallacy is another where it's just like, hey, this person talked about doing this, and it's like, well, does that have anything to do with their presidency? Like, no, they could still potentially run a good country, whether they talked about that or not. Granted, uh, like whether Donald Trump did a good job or not is beside the point, but um, it's not because he talked about groping women. Uh, you could argue that makes him not a great person for saying that, but like as far as like his presidency specifically, the fuck does that really have anything to do with it? But yeah, it's ad hominem.